Hello and welcome back to the Sex and Healing podcast. I'm your host, Erin, and thank you so much for joining me as we take a wild ride together through the realms of sex and healing. You may be able to hear that rooster in the background. I'm recording very early in the morning today from my new villa because I've been awake since 5, so I thought I'd be productive this morning and get this done nice and early. But we might have a little bit of background noise. And I'll keep that in mind for future recordings and see if I can record closer in the evening than I do in the morning. So in today's episode, we are going to be discussing how to find a better quality partner. But before we jump into our juicy content, I do want to invite you along to my absolutely free masterclass, How to Liberate Through Sexuality. That's coming up on June 24th. I'm going to be sharing all the juicy goodness about my signature course, Worship. And I'm also going to teach you my top tips for gaining more satisfaction in the bedroom. So it's absolutely worth joining. Even if you're not curious about the Worship course, come along because there's going to be great value. If you can't make it live, don't worry. The recording gets sent out shortly afterwards. So please do sign up and share that with any other women in your world that you think would benefit from that. If you haven't already subscribed to my podcast, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Share this content with people that you think would get value out of it. And as always, come and share the love on Instagram. Feel free to ask me any questions. Let me know what you think of the content. I'm always here to help. So, finding a better partner. Obviously, this is a reflection of my own personal life at the moment and having navigated a separation a couple of months ago, of which we are very precariously re-entering a friendship at the moment, which is incredibly special. It is a superhuman feat of love to be able to forgive, to be able to salvage the love that still exists, extreme amounts of love that still exist between us, and to carve out a new energetic space for us in the world that is safe and stable and supportive of both of us as friends, that allows us to elicit the love and the support that exists between us. Truly, I've never felt so loved by anyone on the planet because he sees me so completely. He understands my depths. He understands my complexity. He understands my inner workings. He supports me more than anyone else on the planet ever has to encourage me to be me. And I know he feels the same. I know that I provide him with a love and a joy and a comfort that no one can replace. And that's precious to us. And trying to navigate a relationship in the form that it previously was didn't work and caused a lot of pain, left me with a deep sense of betrayal. And the fact that we're both willing and able and capable of rebuilding something in a different form that will hopefully prevent the pain but allow the love to remain in both of our lives in a present form is incredible to me. And I think very few people on the planet could do what we're doing. It's a reflection of he and I for sure, and the love that we have and the maturity that we have. And I will share more in coming episodes, I'm sure, but it feels tender right now, vulnerable, new. I'm being cracked open yet again. And that's why I know it's important to keep going back, because the amount of growth that's there available for me is humongous. And you know me, I fucking love to grow. But what's really important to me is that I do make space in my life for my next partnership, and that nothing that I do in this friendship entangles me in a way that makes me not available for a new partnership. That's a really, really important focus for me, is the quality of that relationship, the quality of that partner, the work that I have to do to attract that, and that I let this friendship with my previous partner be something that supports me and that doesn't complicate or make me unavailable in any way, which is big lessons for me. Expectations, attachments, holding on, they're all things that I'm fucking excellent at. And I'm learning to let go of and just let that friendship be what it is. let it continue to develop me and support me in the way that it can. And one of the key ways in that is actually helping me overcome my abandonment wound. And although on a small level, I can look at his actions over the last couple of months and feel abandoned, when I zoom out and look at the bigger picture, he's still here. And he wants to love me. And he wants to stand by me in my life. And he wants to show me that love sticks around. And that's the first person that's provided love of that sort to me. So I do want to utilize this space and continue to heal and to take this incredible opportunity. So, as I said, I'll share more in coming episodes, no doubt. But today, what we're going to be focusing on is finding the new partner, what it takes to find a high quality partner or better quality partner. So this is an episode that's going to be more relevant for people that are in the dating scene, but it's actually also relevant if you are in a relationship already and you wish to improve the quality of that relationship. Because at the end of the day, finding a high quality partner is actually so much about us. It's the quality of relationships that we build, the quality of partners that we attract is all a reflection of how we're showing up in the world. Every relationship outside of us is a reflection of the relationship that we have with ourselves. So we have to look at, why do we want to attract this partner? When we have this vision in our head of our dream partner, maybe that's our manifestation list, maybe that's just a fantasy that we have in our mind, we need to ask ourselves why. Why do I want that? I used to have a real thing for very attractive people. And yes, it's nice to be physically attracted to someone, and that's important. But I had this unnaturally high attachment to having exceptionally good-looking partners. But why? That's the question underneath it. Why? And when I started to explore that pattern inside of myself, I was able to recognize that me having a very attractive partner made me feel worthy. And that if I was to have a partner that wasn't attractive, that wasn't well educated, that didn't have some superior position in society, that was a reflection of me not feeling lovable. So at the core, I have some very deep beliefs about being unlovable and being difficult to love is another limiting belief of mine. So if I have this evidence outside of myself that the world gets to see, look how worthy I am, look how lovable I am, look how attractive my partner is, look how successful my partner is. And what I want more than anything is a depth of love and connection. And when I say to the universe, well, I want the love and connection, but it must come through this package. It can only be in this shape. That's very good looking and highly educated. Then I'm actually limiting myself from experiencing how much love and connection. You might have just heard my belly grumble as well because I haven't had breakfast. We've got roosters and belly grumbling this morning. Fantastic quality podcast recording, Erin. Now, I want love and connection, but I say to the universe, this is the package that it must come through. How much love and connection am I missing out on? Could the depth of love and connection that's important to me come through a package that I wasn't expecting? If I felt unconditionally worthy and unconditionally lovable, do I need to prove anything? So that's the first thing that we need to get to, is the root of why we want these things. Now, some of your desires and your whys will be very pure and very relevant and necessary. And so now one of the things that I focus on is that I want to experience my equal, my mental, my emotional, my spiritual, my physical equal. Or even a sense of superiority in those areas. Someone that's bigger than me, stronger than me, smarter than me, wiser than me, more mature than me, so that I can be led and I can be developed. But also that there's a sense of equality and that I bring my own qualities that offer benefit to the relationship. I'm not looking for an inherent power imbalance. I'm looking for equality, but I'm also looking for that diversity and polarity and differences between us. And so I want to experience that because I believe that's where my satisfaction is going to come from. Because I am a unique individual on the planet. I do have a lot of personal power. I've got a lot of intellect. I've got a lot of personal development under my belt. I want someone that can match me in those realms because these are my highest values. My commitment to my own growth and my own healing is so high on my values list that if I had someone who didn't share those kind of qualities and didn't share that value, I wouldn't be satisfied. So that kind of why is far more pure, far more relevant, far more appropriate then I need someone very good looking because it makes me feel worthy about myself. So as you focus on your list of your ideal partnership or what you want out of your present partnership, have a look at why. Is there some work underneath there that's for you? Because here comes the tough love that not everyone's going to want to hear. And don't worry, I have not wanted to hear this in my life at certain points as well. But the quality of relationships that you're attracting right now is a direct reflection of you. So if you're not happy in your relationships, if you're getting people who screw you over, if you're not meeting people who are emotionally available, if you're in abusive situations, all of this is a reflection of you. And I know that we want to look outside of ourselves, and I don't mean this to be victim shaming in any kind of way, but we attract what we're ready for. So the law of attraction exists and can be proven in science that our vibration attracts a similar vibration to that. So if you don't love yourself and you're beating yourself up in your head and you speak to yourself like shit. Now, I used to absolutely fucking hate myself. I had such low self-esteem and such low self-worth that I used to think that I was a worthless piece of shit. And that's how I spoke to myself. That's how I genuinely treated myself, like I was a worthless piece of shit. And so when a partner comes along that says those kind of things to you, you're like, I'm used to that. That's my normal. That's how I got into abusive relationships. That's how I got into domestic violence relationship, because that's how I was treating myself on some level. I didn't believe that I was worthy of anything more than that. I didn't love myself greater than that. So if someone else came along and offered me something better than what I was currently receiving, I would have been like, oh, no, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel good. That feels untrue. Why would you love me like that? Why would you be nice to me? Why would you treat me well? So when we're looking at up-leveling our partnerships, we need to have a look at ourselves and say, where can I up-level this relationship with myself? Do I treat myself with the love and the respect and the kindness that I want to experience outside of me? Now, my most recent relationship definitely brought in a higher level of love than I'd ever received before. And that was a real fucking challenge, because I could feel where it blatantly came up against my beliefs that I'm not worthy of that. And it also created like a hugely energetic experience of detox for me, where it was like, this is the highest frequency of love you've ever experienced. And even though that's healthy and good, just like if you have been eating shit food your whole life and then you go and eat healthy food, organic, the highest vibration, the best quality food for the first time, you're still going to get sick. And that's what this experience was like for me. It was like, here's the highest quality love that you've experienced yet, and you have to purge out so much shit that's not in alignment with this. You have to let go of the pain of what it's been like for you in relationships up until this point. You have to let go of the belief systems that you carry that tell you that you're not worthy of this. You have to purge out the energy that's held in your body from the pain of having poor quality relationships throughout your life. Now, I've had some good quality relationships too, but they have always included problems. And that's part of life. Like, we're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for relationships that allow us to go to the next level. That's what relationships are for. They're here to be our teachers. They're here to help us expand and grow. That's not always pleasant. Sometimes relationships come in that are the most loving, amazing, nurturing relationships, and that allows us to grow. And sometimes they come in as challenges and they trigger us and they hold mirrors up to us and make us look at our own shit. And that is an equally as successful relationship. Of course, I don't want anyone to be abused. I don't want anyone to be in situations that are unhealthy for them. Your lesson there is to get out, is to value yourself enough to get out of a relationship that is not serving you. So when we have a look at relationships as a reflection, if we're dating, we get to have a look at those dates as a reflection of ourselves. So if you have a relationship pattern and you keep seeming to experience the same thing time and time again, it's you. There's a lesson that you're not learning in this. There is an opportunity for you to have a look at what's going on inside you that's making you continue to attract this. And if you are attracted to a type, if there is a type of person that you go for all the time, whether that be visually a type of person that you go for, or whether that's a type of career person that you go for, and you keep experiencing the same things that you're complaining about, stop going for the type. Go back to that first question. Why am I attracted to this? Your attachment to that, because of whatever meaning that you've applied to that, whatever reason you find that attractive for, that is perpetually causing you pain. Once you have a look at that and you break that pattern and you open yourself up to more, you will get the relationships that you want. You'll start moving towards the relationships that you want. But if you keep going for the same type, stop going for the type. It's so fucking simple. Now, I've got a friend who says, I really like attractive partners and I don't want to give that up, and I don't think that Spirit's going to make me have an unattractive partner. Well, no, you don't have to give it up, but break the fucking pattern. Break the pattern, and the reward might still be someone that's deeply attractive, but I would say just get out there and start dating others. Go and allow yourself to see beyond the type that you're attracted to. So when I look at another human, I'm not looking at their outer layer, how attractive they are on the physical plane, or how good their body is, or how much money they have, or how much success they have, or how many Instagram followers they have, because all of that shit is going to change. Every single thing outside of that being is going to change. Go deeper than that. Look deeper into someone, and beyond the things that we amass and the things that we do. And there's geckos joining us for today's podcast. Welcome to Bali. Is the essence of that person, the core of them, which of course will also change and grow as they change and grow. But that's the thing that remains. And that's where quality relationships take place, on that deeper layer of our being and the truth of who we are. So if you were to sit on a date with someone who has a great Instagram following and a fantastic aesthetic, they have focused so much time on the external layer of reality. Have they focused on the internal layer? If they were to lose all of their following, all of their money, if they were to lose their body, if they were to lose their looks, what's left? Because that's what you want to connect with. You want to connect with the person whose essence and their heart and their spirit is so nourishing to you and brings you so much that it doesn't matter that you're old and wrinkly and ugly and broke, that you love that being. But if you're valuing yourself on your outer layer and you think that your beauty is going to be the thing that attracts a partner, or your success, or your Instagram, your highly curated Instagram, or your body, then you're doing the same thing to them. You're showing them only the external layer, and you're not showing anyone the truth of who you are. You're not offering something that's far more everlasting than these external shallow things. And it's nice when someone's spirit comes in a beautiful package. I fucking love beauty. I absolutely love taking care of myself and presenting myself beautifully. But I know that that's not where my value lies. I know my value lies much deeper in my heart. And you could strip all of the external layers away from me and I still know that I'm a valuable human being. So that's where we need to get to with ourselves, and that's what we need to be looking for in others. Now, another element of attracting our ideal partner is about our electromagnetic field. So as the feminine, we are magnetic. Our energy is designed to receive and to draw inwards. And even our physical body as a vessel is designed to draw inwards and receive. And often when we're in our masculine, we're going out there and we're trying to drive forward and make stuff happen. And if you look at the male physicality, that's the same. It's driving forward. It is designed to go and to move forward and move upward. So if we think as a feminine, we've got to go make this happen, I've got to go on 100 dates, I've got to go work, we're in our masculine energy, which means that we're not going to be attracting what we want. We need to be in our feminine magnetism. Geckos and roosters at the same time. So when we actually have a look at a magnet, what is a magnet? A magnet is a piece of iron that has enough of its positively and negatively charged particles, its protons and electrons, lined up. When its particles are in this, what would you say, like a chaotic form where all the little protons and electrons are in chaos, there's no magnetic field around it. But you take a magnet, another magnetized piece of iron, and you start to run it along the length of your piece of iron, you start to actually draw the protons and the electrons into coherence. So you use the positive end of the magnet, you draw it along the other one, it's going to start drawing those protons into place. And then when enough of those protons and electrons are lined up, it forms a magnetic field. And that magnetic field influences the world around us without touching it. So for us to say to you, go down to the beach, grab a handful of sand and find me all of the metal pieces in it. It's an impossibility. You would have to work so hard. But if you went down to the beach with a magnet and you ran that magnet through the sand just once or twice, you'll pull it out and it will be covered in metal filaments. It's quite amazing, the electromagnetic field's ability to attract effortlessly. Now that's us. If I say go out there and find the 1 in a million man that you're looking for, fuck, you couldn't do it to save your life. But when you're a magnet, it will come to you in a way that you couldn't imagine. So that's our job. So what gets us into coherence? What gets us into that state of our own personal alignment? It's when our mind and our heart are in a state of coherence. So we need to do the deep inner work and have a look at all of the belief systems, all of the subconscious patterning, all of the repetitive subconscious thoughts that you don't need to think about, and you need to get that in alignment. So you need to do the self-reflection and see if there's belief systems inside you that tell you that you're not worthy of that thing, or that men like that are hard to find, or that someone like that will never choose someone like me, or all the good men are already taken. You need to do some really deep inquiry into yourself to see what's going on in your mind and what's going on in your subconscious, because you don't even know what you don't know. You've got so many patterns running on in the background there that you don't even know what they are. So our job is to go into our mind and have a look at that. And there goes my belly again. Roosters and geckos and belly grumpy. That's what you get for recording at 7:31 in the morning, Erin. So then what do we need to do with our heart? We need to do heart healing. We need to resolve the pain of the past. We need to be free of our childhood traumas and be doing a lot of inner child healing. We need to release the resentment and the betrayal and the abandonment wounds that are being carried in our heart. Once we start doing this deep inner work, and Dr. Joe Dispenza is a fantastic teacher around this work of coherence, and I would highly recommend researching the work of Dr. Joe. I have been blessed enough to do 5 of his workshops around the world. He was a very special and significant teacher in my life. At the time that I met Dr. Joe, I had never felt loved like that before. He held my face and looked in my eyes in the most profound way. I feel like that man saw the depth of my soul in a way that nobody else ever had. And he put his hand down onto my heart and cracked my heart open. I felt like I got punched with love. I had seen Dr. Joe in Melbourne for the first time and felt like he was looking at me. And back then I was like, surely not, Erin. Like, that's just your ego. Whatever, there's 500 people in this auditorium. He's not looking at you. And then at one point, he was looking at me, so I smiled and he nodded at me and I was like, fuck. he is looking at me. And I went to get my book signed on the Sunday. And as I walked up to the counter, he said, I've been watching you. And it was like we were standing in a vortex. It was one of the most profound energetic experiences of presence. And I said, I'm going to see you again. And he said, yes, you are. I know. And then our little vortex dissolved. I stepped away from the desk and I was like, oh my God. I went home that night and booked tickets to Mexico. And that was the beginning of this very different stage of my life. There is nothing that exists in my life now that existed back then. And as he said, out of the chaos comes order. My life had to go into absolute chaos for quite a few years as I was getting stripped back of all of these things in my mind, all of these things in my heart, all of my identities, all of my attachments. Stripped back until I found the truth of who I really was. And from that place now I can start to build. So we need to really, truly understand who we are. If you're working on the surface levels of yourself by thinking that your value comes from your beauty, that your value comes from your body, that your value comes from how much money you have in the world, if you're still stuck on those layers of your own self-love, then that's going to be the kind of partners that you're reflecting and attracting in the world. The deeper you can go into yourself with love and with acceptance and with healing, the deeper quality relationship that you will attract outside of yourself. So knowing yourself and honoring your own personal alignment is absolutely pivotal. Now, the next step is to have high standards. What I see for so many women, including myself, is that no one demonstrates anything better than what you've had, so you continue to attract what you got. Now, another friend of mine, she was explaining to me she wanted more in her present relationship, and one of her healers was saying, well, you're basically wanting your husband to be a woman. He's a man. He's not going to do that. He's not going to meet you emotionally like that. And that kind of sentiment breaks my fucking heart. Because basically we're saying settle. Settle for a man that's not emotionally developed. Fucking no way. No way. But have you seen that before? Has that been demonstrated? Is it rare to find a man who's emotionally developed? Absolutely. Is it rare to find a man who's emotionally mature? Absolutely. But is it possible? Absolutely. And if we just accept what everyone else is accepting because that's the norm, then we're not going to attract higher quality partnerships. So we need to believe in that there is more out there than what we're receiving. I can't tell you how many times I've been told by people very close to me, I don't know if you're going to find what you're looking for, Erin. I don't know if you're going to find one person to love you. I absolutely flat out fucking refuse to listen to that kind of advice. Like, thank you, you're probably trying to save me from pain, but basically what you're doing is minimizing me and my dreams and what I know internally I'm capable of experiencing in partnership. And if I exist, they exist. My equal and my counterpart is out there. I can't be the only person on the planet with my qualities and my values looking to be met in partnership fully. But what other people accept for themselves and what other people's norm is and what we see demonstrated around us is so average that subconsciously we're programmed to accept that for ourselves without realizing that we can have more. But we absolutely can have more. So we need to raise our standards. We need to go above what is accepted and know that it's possible. Like going into the sand and looking for the little metal filings, it's going to feel impossible if you go and try and make it happen. Your job is to actually draw in these experiences and stay in your heart and clear your mind and stay in your knowing that it's possible to be met fully and to not sacrifice. To be grateful for every relationship that shows up as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity to self-reflect, as an opportunity to graduate from that lesson and continue attracting better. Like, I think it's very important that we do put ourselves out there to have the experiences that allow us to develop, but that we do that from a place of very high standards and that we are well boundaried in doing so. So I know my worth, and I'm just not going to share my body with anyone these days. I have such a high standard and such a high self-worth around sharing my body that I could not go out and have casual sex, that I could not meet someone on an app and just have a hookup anymore, because I've gone through those lessons. I've learned what's there to be learnt. And I've got to the point where I'm like, no, I know what I want. I know what I need. I know what I'm worthy of. And I would rather go without than to keep putting myself back into that lower energy that makes me feel terrible. Once you graduate from the lesson, the old, you can't. When you haven't learnt the lesson, the same person keeps showing up in a different body time and time and time again. But when you've learnt the lesson, it like hurts on an energetic level. Just like, oh God, I could never do that to myself again. So if you're still in there and learning the lesson, it's all good. Just get the fucking lesson. Make sure you do the inner work. Ask, how is this about me? What about me continues to attract this so that I can get to that next level? So when it comes to high standards, we need to know what our desires are and what are our not negotiables. So they're two different things. You want to have really, and now I would also recommend that your not negotiables are very much about someone's inner reality, not someone's external reality. You don't have a not negotiable list of someone, you don't want someone with bad teeth. But you might have a not negotiable that you want someone who values self-care to the same way that you do. And that if someone hasn't invested in their dental hygiene, that's not going to be a reflection or a match for your level of self-care or the way that you have respect for your physical vessel. So you can see the difference there between an outer value and an inner value. And so the not negotiables, I would recommend making sure that they're based around your inner values, because that's the truth of someone. That's the part that's going to stick around. Your desires are things that would be really nice to have, but are not absolutely necessary. Like, my personal preference is to have a partner that's much taller than me. And a lot of people have that preference, and I understand that, but I'm 5'10". I'm a very tall woman. The likelihood is that partners will be my height. That the average, if I want a male partner, that the average height of a man in Australia is my height. So it would be nice to have a partner that's taller than me, absolutely. But it's not a not negotiable. What's really important for me is that how much energy and presence that person brings. I could meet someone taller than me who's as shy as a mouse. And I could meet someone shorter than me who has so much fucking energy and presence that the size is irrelevant. So again, we want to look beyond the surface layer of things and get to the core of why we want those things, and then create our desires and our not negotiable list around that. So then finally, the most important part of all of this is that we need to leave scarcity behind. We need to get out of the mindset that it's not possible, or that time is running out, or that you're going to miss out, or that all the good ones are taken. All of those beliefs are necessary for you to address and get rid of, because miracles fucking happen. This universe works in an intelligence that we can't even fucking fathom. The way that things are lined up by our spirit for us to experience is shit that we could not recreate if we freaking tried. So you need to absolutely get into that space, into that knowing, into that coherent state that this is going to happen, that you can have the partnership that you desire, that when you're tapped into your deepest desires, not your superficial wanting, but the truth of your heart, that the universe will respond to that you came to this planet. If you have that deep, deep craving for a partner, do all the inner work and the healing around that. Look at your attachments, look at your belief systems, look at your past experiences. And if that desire still exists, then just know that you have that desire for a reason, and that spirit is using that desire to propel you forward, to give you the hope, to give you the certainty, to overcome the lessons that needs to happen in order for you to receive that kind of reward. These relationships of exceptionally high value only come when we put in the effort for a high value relationship. We need to put in the effort to be a high value person. We need to be the mirror of what we're asking. So if you want someone with great integrity, if you want someone with a really clear purpose and passion, if you want someone who takes fantastic care of their vessel, knowing that it houses their spirit, then you need to be all of those things yourself. There is no way that you can be a vibrational match for that if you don't care what job you're in and you're just kicking it out in a government job, waiting for your annual leave, hoping that some rich dude's going to come in and sweep you off your feet. That's never going to happen. If you want someone who is never going to cheat on you and has a high level of integrity, then you need to be living in that level of integrity yourself and never cheat on yourself in any which way. If you want someone that's not going to betray you, you cannot betray yourself in any which way. Like, this is our inner work to do, and we must be a high value person in order to attract a high value relationship. So the good news is the power is all in your hands. If you're feeling disgruntled, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling a victim to your circumstances, that's the opportunity for more work. I'm not saying by any means that this work is quick. It's not. Some of us have a destiny for reasons much larger than us that we need to go through these periods where we're single. There's astrological influences that influence it because your soul chose it like that. Now, I know I have Saturn in the 7th house, which Saturn is heavy. And the 7th house is about relationships, which means that I got really tough, heavy lessons through relationships in this lifetime. And Saturn tends to resolve in our chart by the time we reach 40. So it was always destined via my astrology that I wasn't going to have the kind of partnerships that I really crave until I reach 40, and I turn 39 next month. So I know I can feel myself. The evidence of my last relationship, which 90% of it was exceptionally high quality. That's a reflection of the lessons that I've learned over the last 40 years. So there's so many influences here. Do not, as much as it's about you, do not turn yourself into a victim. Do not blame yourself, because those are the kind of belief systems, they're the kind of energy that is not going to attract what you want. You need to be in an empowered place. You need to be in a trusting and a knowing place. You need to fulfill yourself first. And this is a piece of advice I fucking hate hearing. And I hear it all the time. And the little anxious attachment in me is like, no, I just want someone else to come along and make me happy. But no, the reason why it's a common piece of advice is because it's fucking true and it's never going to change. If you want to be satisfied in relationships, you need to be satisfied as an individual. You need to live your life in the way that if you were to die tomorrow, you die a happy woman. That if this is all that life has to offer, that you are squeezing every drop of goodness out of it. You need to make yourself the happiest, most radiant, most magnetic, most alive woman on your own. And then relationships will add to that. So in summary, my loves, it is all about us. We must get to the core of why we're attracted to that. Look at our types, why we want that type, break the fucking patterns, learn the fucking lessons. We need to be a magnet. We need to be in our feminine magnetism and draw it into us by doing the deep inner work rather than going out and trying to look for it. We need to raise our standards and have high standards for ourselves in our own life, and also for what we accept and what we're willing to accept for others. And finally, we need to leave scarcity behind and make space for miracles. You need to trust the fucking universe and all of its wondrous happenings. Just look at fucking nature and see the miracles that are here all day, every day. Look at the fucking stars and the way that this planet cycles around the sun in absolute perfect order, and trust that there is a perfect order to your life as well. The faster you do your lessons, the happier you will be for whenever this divine moment is going to come into your life and that partnership that you seek arrives. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode, my loves. As I said, come and join my masterclass if you haven't already. That's going to be an hour of juicy teachings. And as always, I love to hear from you. Please check the show notes for all the links that I've mentioned. Find me on Instagram. Share the love. Let me know your takeaways. Let me know what you loved, what triggered you, what questions you have. I want to know it all. Make sure you subscribe and share this episode. And until next time, beloveds, laugh loud and fuck louder. Mwah.